Got it. So just recording progress. Okay.
Well, I was supposed to say thank you for being here today. So thank you to the brave one for my presentation. I'd like to present the tools and results of a research project we carried out in 2022. This is the traditional presentation plan, so I just can go on this page. Okay, since 1977, French has been the language of instruction in Quebec. Today, the number of students whose first language is not French is on the rise. Today, French is my first language, and I'm talking about French as a first language also for those students who speak English. So 34.7% of students in the private school system came from an immigrant background. So these children don't speak French at home and tend to use English as a second language. So this is the case of Saint Anne Academy, a private school in Montreal, where we conducted our research in 2022. Students don't use French for every task in school. They speak English at recess time, during teamwork, while waiting for the school bus outside, etc. The teacher believed in implementing project-based learning to get students express themselves more in French, but they didn't know how to integrate oral literacy in the project. So they asked for help. In fact, they told us that they knew how to do PBL, but it wasn't the case. They didn't do that. So even if planning is an omnipresent skill, it remains a challenge when it comes to plan complex learning situations like in PBL method. Teachers must constantly question themselves about the task, about the students, about the objectives, strategies, news, and about themselves also. So my research question is, how does the use of self-questioning help teachers planning project-based learning that integrate French oral literacy at primary level? And that's why we start to work on type of question with teachers, because they might ask themselves when they can ask themselves when planning. We must define first the three important concepts of our study, which is self-questioning, project-based learning, PBL, and oral literacy. Well, self-questioning is a metacognitive strategy in which every learner, here in my study is the teacher, who is the learner, is made aware of our own questioning and its deliberate reflection used during a task. And the task is planning. So this is the first concept. The second one is project-based learning, a teaching method that gives students a central role in the construction of their knowledge. In the PBL, students choose topic, plan tasks, search for information, develop a final project, present it to an audience, assess themselves and their peers. This method gives students plenty of opportunities to express themselves orally at every stage of the project. This leads us to this third concept, which is oral literacy. We're talking about oral French literacy. So speaking contexts such as oral production, vocabulary understood and used, comprehension of a message, listening skills, social interaction in school and out of school, and communication situation. This research for the methodological framework, this qualitative exploratory research used non-probability convenience sampling. The data collected were transcribed and coded using in vivo software. we had a general objective is to document the benefits of teachers using self-questioning to help them plan PBL that integrates French oral literacy. We have two specific objectives in this presentation today, is to measure changes in teachers' perception of oral French literacy and PBL integrated oral French oral literacy. And the second one is to document the evolution of self-questioning used by teachers during project planning. We have 10 teachers participate in this research. I work with them with one research student. So we work together with each group of teachers. We met the teachers by grade in Zoom between 3 or 4 times by project. As you can see, we have 10 participants, and some like for grade 2, grade 4, grade 3, and grade 5, we had 2 teachers that works together. So they have to create 1 or 2 projects. They choose to do so, and we made them when they demand. So they have to email us and say, okay, we can meet for the support. So in January 2022, we had the initial interviews, and we also record teachers planning a project at the beginning. So just want to see if they're doing what they're doing exactly. In February, we have 3 presentations. One about lesson planning, another one about oral literacy, and the other one about project-based learning. In March to May 22, we have support them for 2 weeks, and we had the final interview in June 22, and we caught them again when they were planning a project. This is what we use. I know it's very small. We use a question. I'll show you in the next slide. 4 kind of question. Question about the teacher, a question about the task, question about strategies, and question about objective. This is some example of question. Is the project approach consistent with the learning's intention? What criteria are used to evaluate projects? How will students record their learning? How can I use student logbook learning? So that kind of question that we used with the teacher. So we took all those questions. At the beginning, we worked a lot in front of them. So we use this question and we ask them questions, and they have to answer them. And my student, researcher, she was filling the template for the project. So the teacher didn't have to do anything about that. And the second one, we share the question. So we do it with them. So at the middle of the project, we were sharing question, and then once again the student fill in the template. And at the end, we let most of the time teachers questioning in the group. Sometimes there were 2. So we let them questioning with the same question, but we didn't have the question all the time beside them. So just to get used to those questions. The result in discussion, because self-questioning fostered awareness of various elements involved in planning projects that integrate oral literacy, it might change teachers' perception of oral literacy, because it's not simple. It's not a concept that is very simple for them. It might change PBL, integrated oral literacy. And for the second one, it should help teachers develop self-questioning during project learning. Project planning. For the first one, self-questioning and perception of oral literacy, we had a question. The question was, what does oral literacy means to you? So at the beginning, they said it was literature. They thought it was literature. and they said, I won't read it all, but I put some concept in the book, very fun. I want to say that. Both. Yeah. Sharing things with students, telling things to, analyzing. But after this teacher support, oral literacy, in fact, is the procedure that enables student process, that enables students to express themselves, but also to be critical, to share information, to develop other avenues. So after the teacher support, this is an example, but it was the same thing about everything, about every answer. The concept seemed better understood by most of the teachers, because at the beginning, it's like they were saying it's like literature. It was a synonym. For the second question, self-questioning, the next concept, self-questioning and perception of PBL integrated oral literacy. There was a question that said, what do you know about project-based learning that integrates oral literacy? At the beginning, it says it's important. It always have this part included. But after, you can see that they go farther than that. They say, I don't think you can do a project without touching oral literacy. It's almost impossible. So at the beginning, it says it's important, but at the end, you can do it without it. So we find it very interesting about this comprehension. For the second objective, perception of self-questioning skill in planning, we have 3 questions: what you do before, what you do during, and what you do after. So, do we have questions before plan lesson? At the beginning, they say we have question about evaluation, like everywhere. Evaluation is very, very important. We have question about doing the way of doing presentation. And another teacher said we have question about is the level of French is okay for my student. But after, that's an interesting answer. After teacher support, the teacher said, I don't know. For me, it was difficult to see the oral component in this project. It was no-brainer. Even if it came to targeting what I was going to evaluate, it was clear in my head. So it was not surprising, it was natural. Do you have any question during the plan lesson? The first one is, oh my God, how do I tie it all together? How do you make it clear to the child? This is a first grade teacher. It's very important for her. And after, it's one teacher said, but in any case, the idea of project-based learning approach, it's new. It isn't new. But this idea of integrating oral expression at different points in the project and teaching oral expression, teaching facet of oral expression, that's new. So we're more into questioning. It's like exploring. It's saying, okay, what do we need to do here? Where are we? What would be the right thing to do? So once again, after the super teacher, the teacher, they just, you can see that they understand better the model. They understand that they have to teach oral literacy. Don't just do it oral, you have to teach it. And this is what we did with them. So once again, you can see that they have better comprehension of this model. And for the third question, do you have any question after plan lesson? That's funny because the first one before says, if well, it's going to suck. If they're going to fool around, I'm going to have to intervene. So they thought in project-based learning, it's free for all, everyone can do anything. Right now, it's more a question of how I'm going to make the team. And another one says, yes, is everything in place? Is everything available to the students? And what I like to, after teacher support, it said, but I wonder if they were going to like it, if it was going to go well, if the choice they were going to make were interesting and useful, because this was the first time I've done a present in your way, because I told you at the beginning, they were not doing PBL. They were just doing, everything was developed, everything was made up, and the student couldn't have any choice. So they discovered that. So I was also wondering how to manage my time when I was giving time to the preparation of the project, because now you have to manage time because you don't know where to go and how many hours is left to do the project. And another one said it was a question of knowing which grid we could use, whether to focus more on geography or history, grid or oral skill. So at the beginning, they were more concerned about classroom management, material management, but at the end, it was more a question of interest, autonomy of choice, usefulness, time management, and learning target. So that was very interesting. Now if we go global, and we wanted to see the impact of using self-questioning and planning on teaching practice. So after, we have only after, because it was after the experience, after the teacher said, well, we worked a lot throughout the project, even both me and the students. This is what it was not the case at the beginning because teacher was everywhere. Now they say both me and the student, questioning each other, pronouncing their choice, explaining why they chosen this or that over another. I asked a lot of questions. So it's not only in planning, they are in class, practice time, and they question a lot. Also, another one said it was a very concrete project. We were working directly on a classroom project, and it made us go deeper, asking questions. We might not necessarily have questions before. How do we integrate cross-disciplinary disciplinary skill? Do we have a primer? Do we have prior knowledge? Sometimes we'll jump ahead a bit and explain the project to you, and then we'll start the research. So they really understand now what is PBL. So they say they're working together, questioning student, self-questioning, project relevance, appropriation of project-based learning. So they made a lot of conclusion. Okay. Teachers' perception of oral literacy. The oral literacy integrated into project and their self-questioning during planning evolved positively for us over the course of the coaching. However, we would like to point out the following. Teachers mentioned that they had learned a lot during the project, even if we had to start all over again for the PBL because they weren't following its fundamental principle. We have to start all over because we were together at the beginning and said, my project is ready. Oh, that's not project-based learning. You have to work with children. So we have to, obviously, in French, déconstruire, undo to start over again. And we didn't have enough time to explore the notion of oral literacy with teachers. They said they would have liked to start the project earlier in the year to give them time to plan long-term projects. And for the second objective, teachers said that they had learned to ask themselves questions when planning their course, but when we observed the teachers planning their project, I told you at the beginning, we record them. They didn't seem to ask themselves any question. We thought they were more questioning themselves, but it was not the case. They were just discussing. It's okay. They never use material we made. We developed for them and with them, because we did the material with them, nor the list of questions. They didn't use anything. So now we now need to deepen the analysis to find out whether the perception of teachers in our research can be associated with actual planning session. And voilà. Thank you.